Hello, it's Rebecca Happy here today, and we're going to be speaking with Ori Bengal, artist, nomad, discoverer, inventor, and someone who's in pursuit of his passion as a lifetime journey. And so he's in the process of running a Kickstarter campaign for his next leg of the journey to create three-dimensional art. And so welcome to us today. For joining us, Ori.
Hey, happy to be here.
I'm really happy to have you. Um, what I want to just to sort of frame a little bit about what it is you're doing and who you are. For most, outside of the internet marketing group, maybe most people have never heard of you, and what's important about what you're doing. So I know you just launched this Kickstarter campaign, and the main focus of it is about the uphill pursuit of passion, because you've been, probably since you left your family's home, in a journey of discovery, and in that you found your life's passion, which is art. So do you want to just sort of give us the shortened version of sort of how you got there?
Yeah, well, okay. The Uphill Pursuit of Passion, first of all, which is add a .com to that, and you can see it. You can see the art that I'm creating, but also I tell the story in there. I give actually what I call the most important life lessons that I learned while being homeless. So if you haven't heard of me, then hi, nice to meet you. I'm Ori, and I was for a very long time better known as Couch Surfing Ori because I was a lingerie model photographer in Fort Lauderdale, and my lease was about to expire, and I decided, I don't think I feel like renewing here. Like, it's not really doing much for me. And I'm like, do I want to move back to South Beach or, worse, at 29? Do I want to move back in with mom and dad? Not so much. And so I finally decided that instead of renewing at either of those options, I would just go everywhere, and then I can decide where I want to renew my lease. And 6 years later, that ended up being Austin. Although now, in 2 days from now, my lease is up, and I'm getting back on the road. I miss it. It was all this magic happened. But while I was on the road, that's when discovered that art is my passion, and I've been doing it every day since. And it's called the Uphill Pursuit of Passion because when you're doing something worthwhile, or whether it's worthwhile just for you or for the greater world or whatever, you're gonna come up against all sorts of obstacles. When I started, my art kind of sucked. I got all these testimonials. Oh, Ori's this great artist. I've been following his stuff for 2 years, and since he started, and at the start, some of it really sucked, but he's really good now. And yeah, you can't run till you walk, or can't walk till you crawl, that kind of thing. So yeah, you got to figure out technology, you got to figure out technique, you got to figure out funding. I mean, I was doing all this stuff like while I was voluntarily homeless, so I was staying on people's couches, and so it's an uphill pursuit of passion. And if you don't, I think artists attract drama and struggle. Like for singers, it gives them lyrics. For artists, it inspires art. I had some people accuse me of, just getting into relationships so I could have breakups, so I could have inspiration. Uh, but it's an uphill pursuit, but truly rewarding because when you get to the top of the hill, the view is pretty darn neat.
So, but like I've been watching you in your sort of online growth as an artist for the past couple of years, and within sort of this internet marketing framework. And it seems to me that you've been sort of relentless in your commitment to creating art every single day, and that you've impacted other people who are also sort of watching through the Facebook profile page. And you've sort of stretched their thinking in a way I don't think would have happened normally when they were just focused on sort of making money fast and the internet marketing lifestyle. So what do you have to say about actually people? Like I see a lot of people following, opting out of following their passion, and then you're shining the light differently for people. And why do you think it's important for people in this day and age who are building a business to maybe do some of what you're doing?
I think that, okay, I'll start off by saying that some of what I'm doing doesn't have to include being homeless for 6 years. That's not for everyone. But I will say that everyone absolutely should um, follow their passion. For one thing, when you follow your passion, look, I won't say nobody, but many people know I'm what you'd call ADHD, or like I got something worse than ADHD. I got ADOS. It's attention deficit. Ooh, shiny. And so I'm easily distractible. I am like, oh look, new business, and we always hear about all these marketers, all these entrepreneurs who are not succeeding because before they get to success, they get distracted by, oh look, this guy's doing this and making $10 million in a launch. Let's do that. But before you finish that, someone else is doing it. So there's something you have to focus. But with me being as distractible as I am, people didn't expect me to last this long. And what's gotten me here is willpower. So we were discussing earlier, I'm 37 now. When I was 35, I chose that I would get a six pack for my 36th birthday, like six pack abs. I've never had that before. In fact, I was the short fat kid in like middle school phys ed class that wouldn't. I'd wait until everyone left the locker room so I could take my shirt off and then change into my gym shirt and then join the class. So I'd always be late because I was embarrassed. I was like pudgy and stuff. And one thing is that by doing what you're passionate about and doing it enough, after a while you stop kind of caring what other people do or think about it, and you're just doing it anyways because you're doing it for you. But how how great are the businesses that, I mean, that's what Kickstarter is about, right? You find the people that are passionate about what you're doing. People connect with passion. So if you're talking good old fashioned cold call or recruiting or whatnot, it it's passion. Passion is contagious. So when people see what you're doing and how passionate you are about it, they do it. Now, if you're a marketer, if we're using those examples, if you're a marketer and you found a great converting offer and you just start flooding everyone's inboxes with it, that's not passion, that's spam. That's hustle. And I like the word hustle, and that, like this Kickstarter is forcing me to hustle. Like I got the constant reminder that I'm racing against the clock, and I've already raised like 7,800, but I still need another $12,000, which is a lot of money. So that means I need to reach out to more people. But when I reach out to them, I convey it with passion. I'm not like, promote my stuff, yo, or whatever the kids are saying these days. I was like, look, I've been doing this every single day for 2 years. I plan on doing this every single day for the rest of my life. And you should promote this because I'm not just making you're helping a dream. I mean, I will be really grateful. And B, you're I'm designing this so that people are going to thank you for sharing it. I'm making it like a TED presentation where I share the most valuable things I learned while being homeless, and it's going to help people before I ever mention even that I'm asking for help. And so just framing it differently, and people can tell that I'm passionate about it. People want to help when you have a dream. You're connecting with um, you're connecting with people's own recollections of either if they've made it, if they've accomplished a dream, then they know what it took. and they know it took other people helping them, so they're happy to help. If they didn't reach their dream, then they're thinking about their regrets and how they wish that someone had helped them, that they wish that they had had the courage to go with their dream, and they'll help you from that front. So basically, on either side of the aisle, people will help you. Now, as far as doing what I'm doing, as far as doing something daily, you've seen my work. It's gotten a lot better. I've gotten a lot more control and mastery of the tools that I use. Not to mention, I've had a lot more time to explore new tools that I wasn't using because I'm doing it so much. I started mentioning my six-pack ab goal. Well, to do that, I had half a year basically, and I was being very disciplined with my diet and with my exercise, as being very regimented. And that too inspired a bunch of people. But I was just focusing on that goal. And the second I reached it, I woke up on my 36th birthday, lifted my shirt, got my phone out, let's take a picture, let's see if I got a six pack. Yeah, close enough. I mean, it wasn't like rock hard abs, but you could definitely see all six abs. And so I call up my friends. Here, I got a prop. Hey, come over. Yeah, 6 o'clock. We're gonna go for some margaritas and birthday cake and fried food, and like that's what we did. And then I'm like, well, I reached my goal. I I reached my goal, and I should celebrate. I've earned like a couple of days break. I don't need to go to the gym. I can eat something fried or whatever. I can eat carbs, and you know what? A couple of days became a couple of weeks, became a couple of months, and now it's actually a couple of years. And I look down like, oh, it's. I was also more productive. I was healthier. I got more stuff done when I was doing that. So because I stopped and then never fully went back to the way it was, that's what I remember that. That's like a painful lesson, and that's why I refuse. No matter what happens, I'm going to make that painting of the day or the sculpture of the day, or I'm going to create a work of art every single day because I don't want to stop and have that be a couple of days, which turns into a couple of weeks. Like I'm going to create art no matter what.
Well, would you not say then that that was the difference between, say, a goal and a passion? And that was a goal. It was like a personal challenge that you wanted to. And what I thought I understood was during your 6 years of couch surfing, as you talk about in your Kickstarter video, you went, oh my God, I have to go to this museum, and then something happened, and you realized that it was like your personal life calling were meant to go and be an artist or to
Yeah.
connect with
Well,
art. And so that um, that's why it's a passion, and it's not like something, okay, you're going to be arrived, because if you don't do it, essentially your spirit will die. I'm not sure, but that's sort of how I read it.
that's kind of how it feels. So you're absolutely right. I was couch surfing and I was passionate about couch surfing. That's why I could do it. That's why I could put up with all the car accidents and like uh God, there's a lot of stories. I don't want to scare your audience, but like there's a lot of stuff that came up. I don't even think of the bad stuff. Like I actually learned that bad stuff is good stuff because it makes for great stories. No one cares if everything's going perfectly, and but I really liked couch surfing. I loved meeting new people. I loved seeing new places. I loved new experiences. I collect experiences, not things. And so because I loved it, because of that, I could put up with anything that got in my way. And if you're not passionate about what you're doing, if you're just doing another Me Too product or service, or if you're just doing something like that, you're not going to last. You're going to get chewed up and spit out. I mean, like doing a Kickstarter, yeah, maybe you're trying to raise $1,000 and anyone can do that. That's not that difficult. I'm trying to raise 20 grand in a month. I mean, for some people, I mean, yeah, we know some of these marketers, they can send out one mailing and poof, here's $1 million, right? But my credibility, like my reputation was I made a website called Make WordPress Easy. It teaches people how to make websites. it's not what I was passionate about. And so working on that all the time, that chews up my soul. But working on art every day, oh man, I can do that no problem. I don't even need caffeine. Like that's a realization I had recently. I thought I had a major focus problem because I was having such a hard time getting some of my business things done. And my best friend Kate Buck Jr., she's like, "You don't have a focus problem." I'm like, "Well, how can you say that?" I'm like, "I just took this pill, this pill, this pill, enough caffeine to like kill a herd of elephants, and I'm still can't sit down and do this." She's like, "You don't have a focus problem." I'm like, "How can you say that? I don't get it." She's like, "Okay, really?" Every single day, no matter what, every single day you sit down and you create art. I've seen you go 4 hours, 8 hours, 20 hours in a row without taking breaks, without anything. Doesn't sound like a focus problem. I was like, oh, I was just working on the wrong things. Yeah, I can do them. I could be an accountant if I set my mind to it, right? The human machine is an amazing creature. We can learn anything. But that doesn't mean we should. I would probably strangle myself if I had to become an accountant. If there was a cause or something that I believed in that really required it and I was the best person for the job or whatever, then yeah, sure, I would do it, but it would have to be only for a limited time. Whereas art, the what you mentioned, I'll tell your viewers. So I was couch surfing. I went to Maui. My buddy said he'll pay my ticket if I make his girlfriend a website. And I was also signed up for a race, and she runs marathons. So it was basically she was going to train me a little bit, and we had a blast. But when I was going to go, he's like, "Oh man, I can't wait to take you to Lahaina. They got all these galleries. You're going to love it." And I was thinking, calories. Like it just sounded boring and stuffy, and I was expecting people in like top hat and monocles eating caviar and talking about how it's so hard to find good help. And when we finally got there, like this is 2 days. This is the day before I left. Like I didn't say anything the whole time. Craig forgot about it, and then the last minute he remembers, like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." He's apologizing to me like that we didn't go. I'm like, "Oh no, no, it's okay. Like, don't worry about it." It's like, "No, no, we'll go tomorrow." I'm like, "Okay." And we walk in. I spent like more than an hour just at the first gallery. And Lahaina is like gallery after gallery after gallery. So by the fourth one, Craig's getting bored waiting on me. I had to look at like every piece. Like, yeah, some things weren't as great as some of the other ones, but there was so much on average, so beautiful. And as marketers, I'm like, holy crap, look how much you're charging for some of this stuff. Like it kind of blows away the whole starving artist concept. Not just because they're charging 100 grand doesn't mean they're getting 100 grand, but it was still good to see. And you know, I always wanted to be. I always enjoyed drawing and stuff when I was a kid. My my mom got the stories like from my teachers, like Ori's a great student. He does really well on the test. He's always taking notes. He's always answering all the questions right. But when we inspected his notebook for the quarterly or whatever, notebook review, it turns out he did not write one word of notes. He's just doodling the entire time I've been talking the whole year, basically. I'm like, yeah, but it's not something that you think like no one told me, "Hey, you like to draw, you can be a great artist and you can make a living at it." You just think like, "Oh, it's a hobby. I just like to draw and I'm not even very good." I didn't have discipline and willpower when I was a kid. So whenever it would get hard, I would just flake out and go do something else. Now, another reason why I suggest for so many people to do the daily thing, I do it daily. Like drawing ahead. It's difficult. Well, I'm going to do another one. And then when I finish that one, I'm going to do another one. And then when I finish that one, I'm going to do another one. And I just keep improving. Yeah, sometimes they suck, but it doesn't matter. It's actually really cool because I can see the evolution, and that feels good. But so when I was a kid, I'd draw here and there, but I wasn't very good. We get to these galleries, by the fourth one, I just had this like feeling of heartache. I was just like, wow, like I don't know how many artists' work I counted, that I'd already seen that day, and the quality of it was just all this beauty. and I wasn't creating any of it, and I knew I could. So I was like, all right, this is my thing. Like there's not many things that I actually like feel pain about, and I felt it. So yeah, it's like you said, I can't imagine my world without creating art now. That was only like 2.5 years ago. I mean, that was August 2012, no, 2011, yeah. And then it was April of 2012 that I started doing the daily art because I tried to start once or twice and then I flaked out. And then in April, I was thinking, like, what's really important in my life? People don't take the time to think about what do I want in my life? What don't I want in my life? People just focus, like, oh crap, the bills are due. And yeah, those will wake you up and make you focus on stuff. But if that's all you're focusing on instead of, like, what do I want in my life, then you can't pay the bills by doing the things that you want in your life. And this is like, I'm a pretty happy person now, Rebecca. Happy. Like it's great. So if you find anything, if there was something that you enjoyed doing at some point and you just dropped because someone said, "Oh, be real," or well, you got to think about the real world, or how are you going to pay your bills with that? What are you going to work for the government or something? My little brother wanted to be a marine biologist, and we were scuba diving one time. It was amazing scuba diving with him because he would go to like marine biology summer camp, and he was in the marine biology club, and he was staying after school and learn. So he would show me all these things that there's no way I would have seen, but I didn't know what I was looking for. A Christmas tree warms, and one time he found a nurse shark hiding between some rocks. And of course, me being a dumbass, I'm like start yanking on its tail because I think it's funny. If they bite you, they don't really let go. So my little brother was like underwater with bubbles and stuff. But we come up from the water one time, and my little brother's talking all about his passion of marine biology. Oh, and my dad says, "Yeah, I was like, what? You gonna be a marine biologist? Like, what are you gonna do for money? What are you gonna work for the government?" He's like, "Oh, well, okay, I guess I'm not gonna be a marine biologist." My older brother and I were like, we punched our dad, and we're like, "The hell are you thinking? Like, you have no right to say that to him. If he wants to be a marine biologist and live in a cardboard box, that's his business. He might make good money at it. What the heck do you even know about marine biology? But the damage had been done.
He's a dream killer.
Dream killer. And it's so often the people that are closest to us that kill our dreams. My father had we have had some words, we have had some clashes about me doing this art stuff. Now they're happy, to see me pursue something, and I've proven it's not just a phase. And now their friends keep calling them and saying like, "Oh, I see Ori's work on Facebook. It's really great." And so all of a sudden, now they're pitching it to me like, Sherry called us and Leora called us, and she said your art is really good. But like she actually knows because she designs jewelry, or because she was a featured gallery artist and stuff, so she knows. Like forget it, like I already like it's great that now they see the light and stuff, but they had some words, and I stood my ground.
Yeah.
Like I believe in respecting family. I know my parents have done God, they've put up with, like you said, I've done more in my travels than most people will ever do in their lives and stuff. Well, because of that, my parents have had to deal with more stuff as parents than most parents have to deal with. And I respect them and I love them and I value them and I'm grateful for all they've done. But this is my dream. If they don't, it wasn't my dream, but as soon as I discovered it, this is what I'm doing. And come hell or high water, this is what I'm doing. And if it means, my parents are pissed off, well, so be it. I'm gonna, once you're once you're super successful at something, everyone always says, "Oh, I knew you'd make it" and whatnot. It's
Well, the parents are always just sort of worried about your safety and security. They're not seeing that
it,
it's really important for someone to grow and live in their passion. So
it,
it's not that they're coming from an intent to
oh
destroy.
no, and I've come to accept that. Like they just want to know that when they're gone, I'm taken care of. They just want to know that I can survive. And I actually know where, like I've oh, I mean, if people want a daily habit, that's fantastic. Like listen to TED Talks or listen to audio books, especially personal development stuff. It doesn't matter who the person is. Just like go try all of them. Find out what your philosophies are. You'll learn. But you learn some science in there as well. And the thing is, the reason that people will try to warn you, like, oh, you shouldn't do that. What if you fail? What if your art sucks? What if And again, I'm using art here. This could be anything, Rebecca. Like, what if your business fails? What if you invest all your money? Who cares about what if? The reason that people say that is because of the two things. One, the amygdala, also known as the lizard brain, is like where our fears and all that stuff, that little inside chatter that I say to myself, "Oh God, what if nobody likes this painting?" Or what if my Kickstarter doesn't get funded? And if you listen to that, there's no point in living because like everything is going to be what if, what if, what if. But the other thing is that it also comes from an earlier time. Like, so yeah, right now the amygdala originally protected us. Like, hey, there's a dinosaur, a saber-toothed tiger, and it's going to eat us. We better hide. We better run. We better be scared. It's good to be scared sometimes. And at the same time, though, we don't have dinosaurs and saber-toothed tigers chasing us around now. So now it protects us from really stupid things like, well, what if this doesn't work? What if you get embarrassed? And the reason that that is actually a valid point is back in the caveman days, you wouldn't make it on your own. You needed your tribe to protect you and shelter you. You'd hunt together and you'd protect each other and all that stuff. So if you did something that clashed with the tribe belief and you got kicked out of the tribe, you got, survivor style voted off the island, you'd probably die. And it's obviously not relevant to our society. In fact, the people that are weird, after they survive being weird, now they build up a reputation. They're the cool ones. Like they're the ones who are building cool businesses or doing cool art. But yeah, so like well-meaning friends and family are like the number one killers of dreams. I it's good to communicate with them. Like, hey, look, appreciate it. Like they just the other aspect with the amygdala and tribal thing is that if let's say we're both working at McDonald's, Rebecca, I know that sounds pretty ridiculous like right now after all that we've done, but there's a lot of people who have regular jobs, they're non-entrepreneurial, and one of us comes up with an idea. Rebecca, every time I hold my water bottle, I end up getting like condensation, and I think I got an idea for a better one. And you know, I think I can make this happen. I think I'm going to promote this, and then maybe I'll make a bunch of money in it. And you'll be like, no, no, Ori, I mean, like right now, look, you work here. It's a little greasy maybe, but you're getting paid. Like, what if that fails, and then you left your job for nothing? And like, who's going to hire you? The economy sucks. Whatever they tell you on the news, and it's because your amygdala's getting all fired up because if I succeed, I'm leaving you behind. You're stuck at McDonald's. I'm going to be have an invention, and I'm not going back to McDonald's. So it's your survival on the line. And I just the path that I've chosen, though, the great thing about having eaten so much crap, about having done this so consistently, is that now I'm inspiring other people to go back and, whether it's start drawing, doing electronics, playing musical instruments, pick up old hobbies that they had, follow passions they've always wanted to do. They're seeing that, hey, it's okay. Ori's not dead. In fact, most of the comments are actually kind of cool. Like, yeah, once in a while you get, I don't know what vocabulary is okay on your show, so I'll just say someone who's mean, but, I'd say something that's a lot more colorful usually. But whatever. In fact, by not acknowledging those people, I'll talk to them. I'll discuss it. If they say, "Oh, your piece sucks," I'm like, "Well, no. Give me specific. What don't you like about it? Like, why do you think it sucks?" And oftentimes, you find it's about them, or oftentimes, what's fantastic is hundreds of other people are going to go and run this bully out of town
That's
because
your tribe.
that's my tribe. I've built it up. I don't have to defend myself. I don't.
So,
Mark.
so, so right now you have a limited time to fulfill this sort of next leg of your journey, hopefully for through a Kickstarter, and you've put out a very long sort of TED Talk video to tell people about it, and you're trying to purchase a 3D printer so that you can create sculpture as you go on another road trip. Did I understand it correctly?
Well, the road trip's got nothing to do with it so much, but it's that I miss being on the road. In January, I took my first road trip in 2 years, and all this magical stuff that used to happen all the time started happening right away. I mean, my GPS tried to take me off a cliff. Like, I had to get a special tow truck to come get me. That sounds like maybe horrendous to like other people, but to me that's funny. That's a great story. I met a girl. We had a magical time. I surprised my mom. I mean, I drove 3,000 miles to deliver a painting on her birthday. And, like, she cried for once I gave her tears of joy. I said, other guy. And so, yeah, I'm getting back on the road. But so a 3D printer, for those who don't know what it is, it's this machine that melts. Now, they have different variations of 3D printers, but this particular type, the kind that consumers can get, it what it does is think of your inkjet printer or a dot matrix even. It goes back and forth, right? And it deposits ink in the right colors in the right spots. And when you're done, you have your document or your photo or whatever it is that you printed. A 3D printer does the same thing, except for the print head not only moves left and right, it also moves forwards and backwards, and there's a platform underneath the print head that moves down. So every time it moves, the printer deposits molten plastic in precisely the right spot, then the thing moves and it puts on top of it, until finally you have, whether it's a sculpture, a wrench, a tool. They're even doing like ones now that, again, not for consumers, but they've printed like with using stem cells. They've printed someone a replacement ear. They're working on printing food. So the ideal goal is like in the very near future, you're not going to have to send astronauts new parts when something breaks. They're just going to create it right there out of nothing, out of atoms. And so this is a device that I can create stuff in 3D on my laptop while I'm traveling. That's one of the attractions to this thing. And instead of ink for your printer, you have rolls, spools of plastic, like string, but plastic. And so I can carry that with me, can withstand intense weather. It's not heavy, and so I don't need uh, clay. I don't have to go to an art store, and since I don't have an address per se, I don't have, it's a little more difficult to order from Amazon when you're only in town for a few days and then you're moving on. But um, my Okay, so you already heard the story about how I discovered that I love art, and then I started doing art every day. Well, originally, I called it my drawing of the day, but then it became my painting of the day because it was more painterly, and I think a painting is like the next evolution. Now I was adding color and texture and stuff, and then basically after a year, I was like, I should probably try sculpting. So I took a bronze making class because couldn't figure out how do you make bronze. And I Googled it and YouTubed, and I saw that you have to melt bronze to 2,000 degrees. And I was like, this seems like something I probably should not learn from YouTube. And this seems like something I should probably not try in my apartment learning from YouTube. So I took a class and I made this bronze gorilla with this girl sitting on his lap, giving him a hug. And it's my favorite piece. It was so dangerous and so much hard work went into it. Like, I thought I was like, sweet. I paid, $300 for the class. I'll just sell this thing for like $2,000, $4,000, and I made my money back. But as soon as I got home, I'm like, this thing is never leaving my side. It's my pride. It's one of my prized possessions. With the 3D printer, what I'll be able to do. So again, I've been practicing and practicing and practicing. I'm doing this stuff daily, so I'm getting better and better and better at creating this art digitally. But digitally, it's just an image which I can, like when you go to the Uphill Pursuit of Passion.com, there's an image of the sculpture spinning around, and then there's like those two images that I made of it. One that's black and white, where you see it at three angles, and the other one where it's black and orange because it's in the dark. But I made the boulder that this fist is pushing, like I made that glow. I made that a light. That's all done in the computer. Now with a 3D printer, I'll be able to say at any size. Now the printer has a limited print size, but I can break a sculpture up into numerous pieces and print them, assemble them out of plastic, and then make a concrete mold around it and then cast it. So it's still not easy. It's not like I'm just pushing a button and here's your sculpture. It's a lot of back-breaking work, but it's rewarding. It's worth it. I'm creating something. I'm taking something. This 3D printer will let me take something from my imagination and bring it into the real world. And Andy Warhol, he manufactured. He took ideas like the Campbell soup thing, and he would just make screen prints and do like different colors of it. And he had a bunch of people working for him. I can kind of do the same thing with this, but I can customize it. So if you're like, can you make me one of those, but with a pink boulder? I mean, yeah, I can do that. It's amazing technology, and it's uh, this particular sculpture is of Sisyphus, a Greek tragedy or myth, whatever. The guy actually looked him up. He was actually not the nicest guy in the world. So this is a modern reinterpretation. I'm not telling people that, hey, all your troubles are for nothing because as soon as you get towards the top of the mountain, it's gonna roll back down. You start over. But the reason that I'm doing my project around this particular sculpture is because the second I posted this particular project, just the same way I've done every other painting, drawing, sculpture, I'll just post it on Facebook. I'll probably make a smart ass remark. But as soon as I posted this one, everyone's like, "Tis your best work. I want one." And I was like, "Why does everyone want this one?" I mean, I thought the work was good, but I didn't, I thought there were others that I thought were showed more artistic perfection or whatever word you want to use. But I thought about it and I looked, who are these people who are liking it? They're all in the marketing world. They're all entrepreneurs. They're all, I mean, a lot, but they're, even the ones that weren't, these are people who pursue their passions. These are people, and the sculpture is a reminder that you have to keep on pushing and that what sometimes poop, I can say poop, right, happens. And what, so like we're talking marketing, maybe a server crash goes bad, or maybe PayPal freezes your account and on the day you're launching, that doesn't mean that's it, you're out of the game. Like, things happen, the boulder's going to roll backwards and you have to keep pushing. Like, no dream was ever just handed to someone. They have the.
I think the myth of Sisyphus isn't just for marketers. I would say that it speaks to all human beings and the human condition, and that's why people relate to it. It's like, regardless if you're just coasting through your life and not living your passion, or you're living it, you still have to push something, and better to push your passion and risk that. Yeah, for sure, sometimes it's going to fall on top of you, and those disasters, they happen to every single person at one point or
They make great
another.
stories. They make fantastic. The guys who set up Airbnb, which is now a global sensation, they're making tons of money, and everyone knows about them. In fact, now the government's trying to regulate them. They've gotten so big. But there's if you Google Justin.tv space Airbnb, you can watch their presentation, right? So they became roommates. They knew they wanted to do something. They didn't know what. They started working on this, and they had the idea, and they needed money, and they had no money. And this one guy that they used to go to school with or something said he'll fund them 20 grand because they decided, well, while we're working on stuff, we should make cereal, like the breakfast food, cereal. And so they thought they were funny, and so they made two kinds of cereal. Um, Obama O's and Captain McCain's, because McCain was in the Navy, and they sold them for $40 each.
Wow.
Box of cereal, and so this one guy basically lent them the 20 grand and said, I'll fund your box printing and stuff, and so they sold out of Obama O's instantly, and not a single person bought Captain McCain's. And the thing is, so then they had some money, and they ran out of money. So then there was a period where for 3 months they're like, God, we don't have any money. Like, we can't buy food. For 3 months, more breakfast, noon, or breakfast, lunch, and dinner, they were eating Captain McCain's. Where like, that's a hell of a story, But and that's what you look back at and laugh. That's what they're gonna remember. And yeah, I've had my failures. I melted, I warped the counter at my last apartment because of acid, not LSD, but like, different acids I was working with. I burnt myself with, like chemical burn when I was working with fiberglass. Um, you're not really supposed to work with concrete in your apartment. Like all these things, but they're funny stories. To me, car accidents are funny. So long as everyone gets out alive and okay, if there's no tragedy involved, then it's just a funny story. It's it gives us contrast too. Without the bad times, you don't appreciate the good times. And I, like you said, if you're gonna push something, you might as well push something that when you do get to the top of the hill, you appreciate it. Look, I love my WordPress course because it's changed the lives of thousands of people who thought that they could never make a website. And in fact, they were being held hostage and overcharged by, I almost said garage mechanics, but I meant web designers. And now they're doing it on their own. I got a 9-year-old kid with one hand who is making her own websites, and for others, like, it's giving people like money opportunities, not just, like, they're doing it for other people. They've set up businesses and stuff like that. I got great stories, and so I love it. But is it what I? So my dad says to me, he says, "Man, son, just think about it. If you had in 1996 when you started with websites, if you just stayed with it, if instead of all this traveling, you just set up a web agency and you just kept it up. Do you know how much money you'd be making right now?" I'm like, I don't care. I don't love making websites. In fact, it stresses me out. Like, yeah, I do it still. Like, I have a reputation, and but now I only choose the websites where I like the people that I'm working with, and I like what they're doing. Because if I don't, like, I can't do something just for the money, kind of thing. And so, yeah, I pushed the boulder really hard to bring that course to life. I launched that course from people's couches. Like, I was recording and editing and writing the copy. I did everything on my own, and then the launch and the customer support, and this is a big boulder to push. And the reward was awesome. I mean, I've changed the lives of thousands of people, but it's not my passion. So if I can get thousands of these little Sisyphus sculptures on people's desks, I don't care if it's a 3.5-inch version or the 34-inch version, but if it's just on people's desk and it inspires them every time they see it, they're like, I need to keep on pushing, I need to keep following my passion, and they get back on it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes pretty tough. I mean, there's days I want to quit. I'm like, I'm
So everybody can get one of these sculptures by supporting your Kickstarter campaign.
absolutely.
Going to that website that's under your face there.
There.
Mm.
Yeah.
The Uphill Pursuit of Passion. And they should do it fast because the time is running out. And this is going to allow them to remember to continue on route for passion. It's going to help you immensely in your journey to fulfilling yours as well.
Absolutely. And, being that you mentioned I'm a marketer, so I'm a walking, talking PR stunt. Like one of the people that I couch surfed with was the CEO of Zappos.com, billion-plus-a-year company. The whole world knows them. And everyone's like, oh, how'd you do that? And, I so as a marketer, I have to come up with PR. I have to do stuff. I know that as an artist, the way that my stuff is going to be worth, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands per piece is by me becoming part of the popular conversation, meaning, getting in the news. Um, this project is already all over the news. And in November, I did the Movember campaign where I was giving away thousands of dollars of my art to help raise money for prostate cancer research. And I'm going to keep doing things. I'm going to keep coming up with innovative projects and charitable things I can do and little inventions that are art related. I'm going to keep doing things. So, um, in the future, you're not going to be able to spend $50 or $100 and get one of my sculptures. They're going to be much more costly. So this is a great time to get in, as they say in the MLM world, at the ground floor where this stuff is going to be worth something. And it's not just the value of the art. You watching, you contributing, you made it happen. You're setting up this career. You're helping this fame move forward. And because of that, because you're believing in me now, that piece that you're getting now is going to be worth a lot of money down the line.
On top of it, you're using cutting edge technology. You're going to be one of the first people with this kind of 3D printer, and that itself will evolve immensely in the next 20 years, I'm sure.
Yeah, and being an innovator and using of the technology early. The reason I make really cool websites now is because I was making really cool websites when the technology really sucked. So as soon as the technology improved, because I already had a grasp of the fundamentals and what makes it work, I was able to really leverage WordPress and Joomla and Flash and all these other things as they came out. It's going to be the same thing. Like, yeah, right now I'm going to start off printing. I mean, remember printers? I mean, everyone had dot matrix, and the first inkjet printers cost an arm and a leg, and they kind of suck. Now everyone just takes it for granted that you can just print up a photo, or you can just walk down the street to Walgreens or CVS and have, your pictures that you took on your phone. I mean, I was there for the growth, invention, and innovation in the digital photography world. Now everyone's got a camera, but um, I'm looking forward to, as these technologies mature, it's going to be absolutely magical, and I always plan on being on the cutting edge of that. So you'll have moving liquid robots, like Terminator 2 stuff. I mean, not trying to kill all of humanity, but like just the liquid metal stuff. And I'm gonna be there playing with that. So yeah, absolutely. By connecting, by helping me on this project, by supporting this, you're not only getting a great work of art, we're now connecting. You're going to be able to watch the journey, and you are part of it. You help make it happen, and yeah, it'd be
So
cool.
thank you so much for having this conversation today, and I really wish you the best of luck with, you know, even superseding your goal in the Kickstarter campaign, and I hope you make a road trip to Canada.
I would love to. For everyone that doesn't know, you're telling me about how your father does stonework, like really large, massive pieces. And I mean, when you told me like that, you'll connect me with him, and I can go help, learn some of that stuff, try with that. That that's my heroin. That's I'm like, ooh, how can you say no to that? Because it's something I haven't done. It's a new technique, and I get to learn from someone who's already been doing it. So yeah, I mean that's another last tip. Sorry, I can never stop spouting off little life advice. If you want to do something, find someone who's like really good at it already. Make friends with them. You'll save years of pain and mistakes, and you'll have some support in the industry. It's really cool.
So that's the Uphill Pursuit of Passion. Last tip from Ori Bengal: go to Kickstarter at the Uphill Uphill. What is it? The
The
Uphill.
Uphill Pursuit of Passion.com will take you straight to my Kickstarter. Watch the video, learn the best life lessons I learned being homeless. Check out the sculpture and the art, and there's links there to see all my paintings and other stuff as well. And make sure to share this link with everyone you know, and heck, even people you don't know.
Have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks, Rebecca.